everybody, it's Karen Hooley, and I'm here today for coffee, crochet, and chat. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying a different angle on my camera. I noticed watching some of my old videos that my eyes look like they're closed. So I've changed the angle of my camera. So let me know if this doesn't work for you. But it seems like so far, just watching the video, my eyes look better, and there's more of my room that you can see. So, and actually, I feel like I'm clearer. So let me know if there's something weird about this angle. Hi, Linda. Hi, Brad. I'm glad you guys are here. Hoping there's a couple people who said they'd be here today. So I'm hoping that more people drop in. I have a few things to talk about today. Apologize for being late. One of the things I wanted to tell you guys about is last night we got the close date for our house. So we're very excited. So I was running through a few things to get things going in that new house. But we're going to be getting the keys in mid-January. So I'm very excited about that. We won't be able to move it in right away, though. I think I mentioned this last week. We have to have flooring replaced upstairs. Unfortunately, I can't have carpet because I'm an asthmatic. And so we're replacing the carpet with some laminate flooring that matches downstairs. So we have to have that done before we move in. But I'm so excited. And I promised you last week that I would bring a picture to show you guys the house. So I printed out, this is about 2 weeks ago. This is before they painted it. You'll probably, I don't know if you can see that, but there's masking tape up here on the top of the garage because for some reason they sent them the garage door without the windows for the main garage door. So we're waiting on those. Hopefully we have an appointment with our seller to go see the house this weekend. So hopefully by then the windows will be there. But I thought I'd show you this window right here, up here. That's my new office. My new studio is up there. So I'm very excited. It's a pretty big house, so we're really excited to get in there. And so hopefully by the end of January, we'll have moved in. And I'm so excited. Anyway, so I promised you guys that I would show you that. So while I'm waiting for a few people, I'm just noticing a couple people are dropping in. So make sure you get into the chat and introduce yourself. And if you're not watching this video live, make sure that you do subscribe to the channel so that when I do go live next week or in the future weeks, let me know that you'll be notified. Sorry, I just saw people starting to post in chat, so it kind of distracted me. But if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get a notification when I go live. So I'm really excited about that. Oh, thank you, Linda. We're excited. We're probably the only empty nesters that have ever upgraded their house instead of downgraded. So it's kind of exciting in a way and daunting at the same time. Hi, Martha. It's good to see you here. I'm glad you've joined us. I thought I'd share with you too my new shirt. I don't know if you saw this or if you noticed this, you probably did. This is from Fiber Fusion Northwest, which is a local fiber show that happens actually the same weekend every year. It never fails, as Rhinebeck does in New York. And I usually show at the event. This year was supposed to be the 10-year anniversary, and it obviously got canceled. But they still did a fundraiser. They always do t-shirt fundraisers every year. And so I told them to send my booth fees that I usually do. I sometimes I teach for them, but I'm pretty much in the last few years have had booths in the market to sell my books and patterns. And so I told them to take my booth money and send it for a t-shirt. So this is our t-shirt. It's the year of the mask, and they've got all the different animals with their mask on, a bunny and a alpaca and a llama, sheep, goats. So it's actually kind of a cute shirt. So I just got it this last week, and so I thought I'd wear it today so you guys could see it. It's kind of fun. If you live in the Pacific Northwest at all, it's every October. It's at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds in Monroe, Washington. Before we moved out here, it was only like a 15-minute drive from my house. So I could drive back and forth every day of the show. And it's just a Saturday and Sunday, free admission. There's art classes from knitting, crocheting, weaving, spinning. There's been felting classes. There's been basket making classes. There's been bob and lace. Anything that you can do with natural fibers. That's the whole premise of the event, is that it's all natural fibers. So if you ever want to go to an event, I mean, there's a lot of hotels and stuff around the area, but it's a fun event. And if you live closer to Washington than you do to New York, it might be a good event to check out one year. We are all hoping that it will happen again next year. And I've already got the dates on my calendar so that if it's a go or not, I am definitely going to try to be there. So that's the news on that front in my shirt here. I thought before we get started, of course, I always show you what I've been working on. And last week I showed you the hat. It is blocking, so I didn't bring it. I told you I was working it flat, and then I'm going to seam it. Whenever I work on anything that's going to be seamed, I always block it before I seam it. So it should be ready, I'm hoping by either this afternoon or tomorrow morning, to be able to take it off the blocking board. I used DK weight yarn for it, which is, you guys know, I'm not usually a thicker yarn person. I'm usually fingering weight or smaller. But I'm finding, because of the density of those stitches, it's taking forever to dry. Fingering weight is so much faster when it comes to drying. So this is what I have left. I still going to use it to seam. And then I thought I'd show you, I bought a pom-pom for it. So it's the pom-pom. I got it at Michael's. It's one of their loops and threads for pom-poms. This is the perfect color. I don't know if you guys can see with this, but it's got just very close to that brown color in there. So I think this is going to be really, really cute. What do you guys think? I think it's going to be really cute. I need to get a button to put inside. My button box is in storage. Of course, everything's in storage. So I'm going to need to go find a button somewhere to put inside the hat to be able to button it, because it's got one of those elastic loops in it right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got one of those elastic loops that you need. Well, I could sew it in if I wanted to. I think so too, Linda. It is a perfect match. I really do. My daughter, my 22-year-old daughter, actually said the same thing, and usually I can trust her with that stuff. So I think it's going to be good. I mean, I could sew it in, but sewing it in when you've got something like this, it tends to want to flop all over the top of the hat. And this way, by putting a button in there, it's removable. So if you don't want to wear the little pom-pom, you can take the pom-pom off. I know that it would be nice, because I have a lot of beanies that I wear that are my kids' schools, you know, like Washington State Cougars or Montana State Bobcats, and they all have pom-poms on the top. And there's times I'd love to pull my hood up to cover, you know, more of my face and stuff, and that pom-pom always gets in the way. So by making it removable, it allows you to do stuff like that too. So so that's the first project I wanted to show you. I hope next week I'll be able to show you the finished product, if I haven't already shipped it to photography. I need to check with my photographer to see when she's doing another a photo shoot. I just got photos back from her for a project that's coming in. When am I releasing it? Oh, it's the pattern for my new free pattern for 2021. That's what, so she just did those. I don't know if she's going to do any shoots in December, but I wanted to let you guys know that there is a new free pattern coming January 1st. So be watching for that as well. Okay, so second project, or actually let's talk about what has been a project I've been working on for a while. My sweater, which I didn't bring with me because I'm having trouble keeping the needles in the work right now. I don't have a cable needle that's long enough. So if every time I move the sweater right now, I have about that much more of the ribbing to do, and I'm done with the body, and I can start the sweaters, or start the sleeves of the sweater. But I had to order some yarn yesterday, so I can't start the sleeves yet. I'm short one skein. I mean, I can start the sleeves, I just can't finish them. So I need an extra skein of yarn, which I should be getting sometime later this week or Monday at the latest. But hopefully next week I will be at a point where I'm either started the sleeves or I have just finished the bottom of the sweater. I haven't picked it up in a couple days, but I can actually show you the sweater. But I'm keeping it away from my cat, so there's no yarn being pulled so far. Everybody cross their fingers, say a prayer for me that continues to be the case. I won't be able to wear it for Thanksgiving. It's just not going to be done by next week. So it'll probably be my Christmas sweater, which is totally fine with me. I'll probably wear it for Christmas. But I have been kind of going through my my works in progress, my WIPs. And I forgot about this project that I started back in February. I teach a class called short row, Tunisian short row scarf. And it is a class that teaches you how to make short rows in Tunisian. And while you're learning what short rows are and how to make them, you're making yourself a scarf. And I had started this right after the class I taught at Red Alder in February, and I have not finished it. So last night I worked on a little bit. I have one more short row section to do, and then I can finalize the top of the scarf. But hang on, I'm trying not to pull it too hard to rip out what I've done so far. Hang on. There we go. Okay, you guys, if you've done Tunisian before, you know Tunisian rolls. So this is rolling a lot, but this is what I call the jester scarf, because when the scarf is done, it's got all these points, and it kind of looks like the collar of a court jester. The yarn I'm using is Universal Yarns Classic Shades Sequins Light. So it's automatically got sequins in it already. This is do I have the label in here? I don't have the label in here. This is one of their astronomy, I guess is the word I want. I want to call it, it's not Polaris. Can't remember the colorway. But if you go to the Universal Yarns website, universalyarns.com, and search for Classic Shades Sequence Light, you'll see this yarn. And literally each one of these triangles or these points is where the short rows are being made. I just finished the second to the last short row last night. This is right. Ooh, I'm losing my stitch, so hang on a second here. I love this yarn. Oh yes, Linda, this yarn is amazing. It's soft. It's easy to work with. The sequins do make it, if you make a mistake, it does take a little bit of gentle maneuvering to get it to come out without popping the sequins, because it's on such a fine thread. I've found that it's easy to just break that thread and have the sequins come out. But even with the sequins and rubbing in this area, it's so soft, and it's great to the touch. This is something I've actually been considering teaching this class, either on Zoom or creating a a standalone class on my class platform. If this is something you guys would like to learn, let me know, and I will see about putting a class up on this. It's really simple. It's one of those classes that I can probably teach in 90 minutes and let you go off on your own and give you the instructions how to finish it off. And you can have a cool little scarf at the end of it. I love this yarn too. I've made many of these. Most of them are my class samples, but this one I'm actually making for me. When I teach the class live, Universal usually sponsors the class, so they sent me yarn for all the students. And I had a couple of students that didn't show up to the class, so I got to keep the yarn. So when I saw that this color didn't get picked by the students that were there, I said I have to have a scarf this color. This one is actually the shorter version. When it's done, it kind of sits. Oops, I should probably put it the other way so the points go out. But what's really cool about the shorter version is that you can wrap it a couple times around your neck, and you get the when it's blocked, you get the points that kind of hang down, and it looks like a cowl that has points. But it's a lot easier to take on and off. I also have a version that I give in class that is longer so that it's, comes all the way down and you've got all these points. You can wrap it around your neck too, but the shorter one lays flatter and there's less fabric there, so it's more like a cowl. So this is something that I've been considering teaching online as well. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. And I will put that on my schedule too. But I thought you guys would like to see that. I'm using a size H. I thought it was an H, but I had to make sure. This is a clover bamboo Tunisian hook with the interchangeable where I can take it off. And usually on these, there's an end cap at the other end when you're working Tunisian. I always take the end cap off. This is a little tip for you. If you're working on something small that you don't have a lot of stitches that are going to go flying off the end, take the end cap off, because what I find with the way these cords are, is that as I'm working, that end cap just either smacks me in the arm or smacks me in the chest, or if I'm working at a table, it's clicking like that. I don't know if you can hear that. So I always have my students take the end caps off when they're working on these scarves, because it drives them crazy. It drives me crazy. So there you go. So that's the third project I want to talk to you guys about. And then I think I've mentioned I like to knit socks. And I got this yarn, I think I might have showed you the yarn before. This is a Sock Obsession yarns, and it's their, what do they call this? The name's not on that. I have some other yarn of theirs. It's the same kind, but it's here. This is it's a standard sock. It's 75 merino, 25 sock or nylon, and its color is Cherry Nade, which is really cool. The color is not doing it justice right now on this camera. It's a very deep Merlot-y, winey color. And this is something my son had picked out for socks. So I have started those. These are his Christmas gifts. This is the cuff. It's very tonal, which is what I like. And he likes that too. He likes a more solid sock. I mean, he likes wild colors that you wouldn't expect. But it's, this one's a little more muted than what he usually picks. I mean, he's done bright orange and stuff like that in the past too. But the socks I'm using is called Business Casual. This is the pattern. It's by Tanis Gray. And it's just a small little cable that makes these little almost pseudo argyle on the sock. I don't know. So I think with this tonal color he picked, this is going to be very cool. He got to pick the color, but he doesn't get to pick what the style of the sock's going to be. And he's a school teacher, and he loves to wear my socks on those cold days. So definitely he will wear these to school. So I'm really excited to get them to him. That Business Casual kind of reminded me of a, school teacher. He teaches English, so I've made him a sweater that has elbow patches. So this is kind of on that same vein of the type of teacher he likes. Let's see. I haven't tried Tunisian yet. Oh yeah, Martha, definitely. If you're interested, watch for in January is when I'm going to start taking what do you call it? Registrations for different classes. So this might be one that I offer in January, February. With the move, I'm not 100% sure. I'm still trying to schedule a few things. That need to get done for the house for us to get moved in. So until I know what those dates are, I can't put classes on the schedule yet, but keep watching because there's a lot of people who have been wanting to take that class. So I will be scheduling that at some point. Angie, it's very pretty knitted up. Yes, that color is very, very cool knitted up. And I'm glad you're here, Anne. It's good to see you. And Brad's mom, he sounds like a professor. Yes, that's my son. He's a 7th and 8th grade English teacher, but he's got that, that Robin Williams movie that he's got that vibe. That's who my son is. He's just he's the youngest teacher in his school district by 12 years. The next oldest teacher is 12 years older than he is. And, but he's definitely an old soul in that respect. So I'm working on those. And then I think I told you, this is the last thing I have to share before we'll talk about some of the things on my list here. I think I told you I'm working on a new book. I'm so excited. I got 3 projects already done and they're in tech editing right now. I'm going to start number 4, and I just wanted to show you the yarn for number 4. This is also Sock Obsession yarns. It's their 75-25 merino nylon. This colorway is called Milky Way, and I'm going to wind it up later today to start on that project. I can't wait to wind it up and start crocheting with this because it's such a subtle stripe in there. I don't know what it's going to do, and I'm really hoping it doesn't pull real bad. But since the project I have has an interesting, very interesting shaping, I'm hoping that it removes any pulling that might happen. But I love this yarn, this color. So I don't know if you've heard of Sock Obsession yarns. She's out of Nevada. I'm trying to see if she's got information here. We're in Nevada. I think it's Henderson, Nevada. She's located. But isn't this gorgeous? Oh my gosh, I'm in love with this color. It's like a soft gray, light blue with this, not even turquoise. It's almost a mint turquoise combination. It's just beautiful colors. So that's my next project for the next book. I'm hoping this next book, because of us moving and my daughter getting married in September, this book probably will not be released until 2022, which is going to allow me to have a few more projects in it. I'm hoping for it to be a little bit bigger book than the last few that I've done. I usually have 10 to 12 projects. And this one I'm hoping to have like maybe 15, at the most 20, but 15 for sure. Yes, Linda, I can't wait to crochet with this because it is a soothing color. And if you notice, I've been doing a lot of darker colors, like my son's socks. It doesn't show on the screen as much, but it's a little bit darker. The scarf has got a lot of black in it. And last night I was wearing black leggings as I was crocheting on it. It was really hard, even with the light, to see. And then my sweater is a teal blue that's really on the dark side. And so I'm really looking forward to something that's a little lighter to work on at night, especially. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So you guys working on anything fun? Anybody have to share with me what you guys are working on? Are you working on any Christmas gifts or holiday decorations? That's my bummer this year, is that we're still going to be in the rental for the holidays, and so I don't get to decorate that much. But there's a part of me that really wants to pull out a couple of thread angel patterns and just make a couple thread angels to put around. I don't know what else to do. So someone asked me to knit some woolen fingerless mitts and offered to pay. I said fine, but I charge extra for working in black yarn. I apologize. I agree with you there. I really do. I mean, dark yarns are starting to really wear on my eyes. I got to learn. I've really got to learn to wear a lighter color when I'm working with dark yarns, because that seems to be my issue right now. So not so much that it's hard to see because it's a dark yarn, but more of the background. I utilize whatever is my background a lot. You'll notice now my desk is white, because I used to have, in the old house, I used to have a cherry wood laminate. It was a laminate that looked like cherry wood desk. And when I would crochet at my desk, it got to the point that even with all the light hitting on me, I couldn't see. So when my son moved out and I got his room, I replaced this desk with the old one with this desk. So everything's going to be white and for me. But yes, my eyes are definitely getting older. My bifocals are getting, stronger every year. So there's a lot. I should make more wrist warmers, but I'm still working on a blanket and a sweater. I think I want something that will be finished quickly soon. Yes, and I do that too, where I'll be working on, like, my sweater. My sweater, I've been working on it for a while, but I've started and finished projects in between, because I just need something that's quick and easy and fast to do. You just finished your pet blankie when it's washed and blocked. Oh, definitely, Linda, send me pictures. I love to see pictures of your projects, even if they're not my patterns. I mean, if you want to share with me, I love that, guys. So you can always tag me on your photos if you're on any of the social media platforms. Just tag me if you're following me. It depends on where you're at, how to tag me. But if you're not and you're on Instagram, I'm at Karen Hooley, all one word. So you can tag me and show me what you're working on. I love. I'm always inspired by your colors and your projects. So definitely share. I love to see what people are working on. Knitting a shawl for a gift. Oh, cool. Okay. I've knit a couple shawls, but nothing very fancy. But I'm really tempted. I mean, I've had a couple shawl patterns that have been a little more, one was real simple, one was very lacy, that I ended up having a stitcher do for me because the lace was making me crazy. So there's a part of me that wants to start a knit shawl that has more lace in it, that I can work on at my own speed and not try to release as a pattern. So you guys might be seeing that in the future. Who knows? I just used Catherine's wheel stitch. Oh, that's right. I remember you saying that you were doing Catherine's wheel. It's one of my favorite stitches. And Martha, I'm working on the Masalo shawl by Brooklyn Boy Knits for me. Oh, cool. Cool. I haven't seen that shawl. I have to look that one up, Martha. I know Brooklyn Boy Knits. I just haven't seen that shawl. So I'm going to have to look for that one. And it's nice to do something for yourself once in a while, isn't it? It's kind of like my sweater. I knit myself socks a lot, and I'll crochet myself socks a lot. But that's usually the biggest project I do. So this sweater has been kind of a treat for me because it's not my pattern. I don't know under a deadline, and it's something for myself, which is awesome. Linda loves to knit lace. Why didn't I find it for some? Oh, that's good to know. Oh, no, I see. Even crocheted lace. I mean, there's something to me that's very soothing about all those holes and stitches and making patterns. In fact, I'm going to be getting yarn here shortly for a lace project to crochet that needs to be done in January that I cannot show you, unfortunately. It's under contract and I can't show that. I don't even think I can show the yarn. So, but I'm looking forward to that because it's a pattern that once you get the repeat down, it's going to be very, very soothing for me. And it'll be very quick. It's just, I think it's a 12 or 13 row repeat to get the lace to do what it's supposed to do. So, yeah, I agree with you, Linda. Lace is very, very soothing. Anybody else got anything to share about what they're working on? I think everybody's chimed in here. Martha and Linda and Anne is here. And there's not somebody else watching that I see. I just don't think they've chimed in yet. So anyway, one of the things I've been trying to do is get through the list of requests from people who have done my surveys over the last couple years. This year's survey had a lot of information for me, and I'm still sorting through it. But last year I still had a few little blog posts that I've been trying to debate how to write them, and they're topics that it seems like I have to have a conversation with you and not write it out as a blog post. I mean, maybe in the future I'll figure out a way to write it as a blog post. But I thought there's a couple topics that I got that people have been asking about, and they still asked again this year in the survey. So I thought I better address those. I just saw Anne pop in here. It's a different year for making gifts. With my husband working from home, I'd have to make gifts in the closet. There's no light. Yeah, I understand that too. My husband works at home full time, so he has for the last 16, 17, 18 years. He's been working at home full time. So it used to be that I would work, either in my studio or when he was traveling, when he did travel. He hasn't traveled in the last few years, but I was still able to do some stuff in secret when he was working, because he worked upstairs and I worked downstairs. But currently in our rental, it is a 1-story, and my office is right here. And on the other side of those doors, just around the corner there, is his office. So, and then right directly behind me, you can kind of see their couch. That's our living room. So there's really no place for me to be secret about things. So this year he's not getting socks. Well, he might get socks. He just won't see the socks that he gets. Sometimes we have to be closet crafters. Yes, Linda. Sometimes we do. If I could have I will have a closet next year. In my new studio, I will have a walk-in closet with a light, so I could probably just pull a chair in there and work if I needed to. But this year, in the new house, I'll be upstairs. And in that picture, I'm going to show you guys. This is my new office. That's my husband's office. So I'll be up here. He'll be here. In the old house, I was on the bottom. He was up on the top. So kind of interesting how that all worked out. Okay, so first topic, my hair is doing weird things this morning, guys. So I don't know, I didn't mention this at the beginning, excuse me. On Sunday, as of this morning, our state is now on lockdown again. And of course, he locks everything down just as I need a haircut. So I'm kind of like dealing with all this. In fact, my hair clip didn't hold my bangs today because it's getting too heavy. So yeah, so we're on lockdown for another month. I know some of you have probably been dealing with this yourselves. Ours, fortunately, he has not touched construction, so that's why our house is able to move forward. But like our grocery stores are down to 25%. Salons are open, but they're very limited on what they can do. So I'm hoping that things will turn around. But yeah, so I'm really glad to have these lives at least once a week. And I'm thinking that the longer this might go on, who knows, I may end up doing a Zoom call for people to just jump on so we can all chat and crochet at the same time at some point during the week. So if you're interested in that, let me know too. So we might do that too. The Illinois governor started that stuff too. The restaurant owners are thumbing their nose at them. Yeah, there are some areas in the state that I'm waiting for revolts, especially where we live. People have already been mad. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so my hair, as the weeks go on, I don't know what it's going to be doing. It's at that point where it's like, so if you see me playing with it, it's because it's bugging me. Anyway, so let's start with some of these questions people have been sending me. And there was last year that I got probably like 15 people asking me this question to talk about. And I just don't know how to talk about it. And it's, how to not get fur in projects. They all have cats or dogs, and they're having problems with crocheting or knitting even projects and getting the fur, their animal's fur in it. And I have 2 cats. I have a rabbit. um, I have the same problem. There's really no way. I mean, unless you have a room that the animals are not allowed in, you strip at the door and put on different clothing when you walk into the room. And there's some sort of system that sucks any extraneous stuff you might bring in. I mean, which is totally, it feels like, totally fantasy land. There's really no way to completely remove, completely stop having dog and cat fur in your projects. I mean, there's just not a way. Honestly, so my what I do is I have a lint remover that when I go, my couch back there where I crochet most of the time is microfiber. So I have a lint remover. One of my cats loves to sit where I sit. And so I get the lint remover and I pull off all the major fur. And this is for 2 reasons. One is because I'm always crocheting or knitting there to make sure there's not extraneous fur that, more than what there really should be off there. But the other reason is because I don't want to sit on it. So, I wear a lot of black clothes, black leggings and stuff like that. And I don't want cat fur all over them all the time. So I do that. And then when I'm actually working on the project, a lot of times, because I do have an aught light that sits next to me as I'm crocheting, it will shine a light on one of my cats has white fur. I see it almost right away. The other cat is black and she's a tortoise shell. So she's got that amber color to her. And, I can find it. I have the problem with my own hair. I shed a lot. I have very, very thick hair that sheds. And so I constantly pulling my hair and the cat fur out. That is really the only ways. I mean, you just have to be cognizant of watching your yarn and seeing the project. You've seen the fur in the projects. And then, you'll have cat fur in your lap and stuff like that. So even not worked into the stitches, sometimes you'll pick up a piece and you'll see pieces of cat fur or dog fur on the piece. When you block, you'll find that a lot of that comes out. You can take a lint brush or a sticky roller or something and brush it before you block it. When you're done with it, if it's something that can be machine washed and dried, immediately before you give it as a gift, stick it in the washer and dryer and it'll get most of that fur off. But there's really no way to absolutely remove it all. I mean, there's no way. It's just par for the course. So let's see, I've got Linda here talking about, my friend has fastidiously observed lockdowns and stayed in all the time. She won't even go to the grocery store. Now she's been exposed by taking care of her grandchildren. Oh no. Oh no, did she get COVID or she was just exposed to it? I'm so sorry to hear that if she's gotten it. I have sticky rollers in every room where I work. Yeah. Sticky rollers, lint brushes, whatever it is. The other thing people talk about is making sure they brush their animals regularly to get all the loose fur off. She was just exposed and now she needs testing. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens. Yeah, I see my nieces and nephews, fairly often. We've had a lot of birthdays recently in the area, so it's the first time in a long time we've been able to celebrate birthdays with my husband's family, and since we're now in the same area, and I keep worrying about that. But they're so good about being at home. There's only 2 of them that work outside the home right now, so 3 of them. And one of them's a school teacher, and she's in the classroom. She's in the classroom with the kids, but it's very limited. So not too worried about it. But being exposed, I always worry when someone's exposed. So I know as an asthmatic myself, I have to be careful. I'm trying to not be frustrated and be smart about when I do go to the grocery store and stuff like that. I'm gonna wash my hands, wear my mask, all that stuff. But it's really frustrating because I can't live my life in fear. That's the thing. You know, I worry about people, but I can't live in fear. So that's the hard part. Okay, let's get back to fur and animals, and fur and crochet and knitting. Is anybody here besides Linda? I know Linda said she has sticky rollers. I use sticky rollers. I use lint brushes. Anybody else have any thoughts about how to deal with animal fur in your projects? I can't think of anything else. So if you guys have some really great ideas, let me know what they are, because I would love to pass that on to people who have been asking me. There's really not a whole lot you can do. It is what it is. I mean, vacuum your house, dust your house, that kind of things. Sticky rollers too, and I keep some yarn in knit crochet bags instead of, yes. All my projects, I mean, you saw as I pulled things out earlier, they're always in a project bag. My sweater is now too big for my project bag that I had it in. So it's kind of in it's in a bowl right now. It's in what I'm using as a yarn bowl. So it's getting dust and stuff, but it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to be using a roller on and stuff like that too. After the project's done, I put it in the dryer with bounce sheet. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea too. Yeah, even if your yarn that you're using is able to go in the washer and dryer, like I mentioned before, even if you just throw it in the dryer to pull some of the fur off, that's great too. I sometimes, with baby blankets, I'll wash and dry them. And I won't use a bounce sheet when it's a baby item or any sort of fabric softener. And I use like Irish soap or something like that, very delicate to wash, because with babies, you never know if they're allergic to something. But if it's for an adult who doesn't have any skin allergies or fragrance allergies, I'll wash and dry and give it away. I do a lot of hats for babies that are in need through one of the charity programs. I'm looking for we're looking for them here, but when I was on the other side of state, Catholic Community Services had a layup program that every month they did 40 or more bags that had diapers and onesies and then a bunch of us who knit and crochet made baby hats and sweaters and blankets, and every month at least 40. The gal who was one of my daughter's good friends, that's in charge. She just posted on Facebook, I think 2 months ago, they had almost 100 people that needed these bags. But what I do with those is I don't wash them. I just put a note in with those hats. I usually do hats for them because I'm doing them in between projects. I usually put a note in that hasn't been washed, and they will wash them if they see the need to have them washed themselves. But if I was giving them away now, I don't know what the local people would do. If you're giving away for a baby, like a layup program or at a hospital or something like that, always check with who you're giving them to when it comes to infants, especially for allergies. That's the most important thing. You have no pets, but I do keep everything. Yes, the dust is the other thing too. Yeah, that's a big thing. As a designer who used to work for magazines a lot, that was one of the things they always recommended too for us as designers who were creating our projects, is we had to wash them and block them, obviously, before we sent them out. We couldn't use anything that had fragrances, because there were people on set when they were doing the photography that could be allergic. And so we never knew who was going to be doing that, so we couldn't use it. But then also, they always asked us to ship everything in a dust-free container. So I have actually bought, and I'd show them to you, but I have the new projects for the new books in them right now, so I can't show them to you. But I have like 5-gallon Ziploc bags that I use for larger things. And so those if you don't have a project bag big enough for a project, I highly recommend Amazon's got them. They're project bags. They're Ziploc bags that are 5 gallons and they're huge. Yeah, but they're perfect for, you know, even a sweater you can stick in there as you're working if you don't have a project bag big enough for it. So dust free is hard too. And Ziploc bags for smaller projects. Yes, I've done that in the past too. When I've run out of project bags. This is my favorite size project bag. This company is no longer around. It's called Yarn Pop. And I probably have 8 of these size bags. They're just a zippered bag. They do have a pocket. No, these ones don't have a pocket inside. They're just a zipper bag. They've got grommets where you can pull yarn through. I hardly ever use those because I end up getting caught with stuff inside. So, but I have like my stitch markers attached inside. But what's really cool about these bags, and if anybody knows where I can get a bag like this that has this feature, let me know because I'm looking for more of these. What's cool about this is the way they put the zipper in. There is a hole. I mean, it's hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a hole right there where the yarn can come through and it doesn't get caught. And that's how I use this bag is I'll zip the bag closed and I pull the yarn through there. And it seems like the yarn spins better, but it's something that I could use more of these. It's my favorite. And I'm really bummed that they didn't make a go of it. I think they tried to grow too soon and that's what happened. But these bags were my favorite bags ever. And I'm like very protective of them when I take them places. So, because I know I can't get any more. So if anybody knows of a company that makes this style bag, because I like how flat it is and it works perfectly for shawls and it's the perfect size for shawls. And I just did the hat I'm working on was in this bag too. But the feature I like the most is being able to zip it up and have the yarn feed through here. It feeds through here better than it feeds through those grommets for me for some reason. So anybody knows where you can find some more of those, I greatly appreciate it. Okay. Ziplocs are awesome. I use Ziplocs for everything. So, okay, second question. I've got about 10 more minutes, so I wanted to cover this question too. And I actually did write a blog post on this, and I'm going to actually pull up the blog post really fast. But people are asking what to do when they can't find classes, crochet classes. A lot of people say they want to go to events and there are no classes. Their yarn shop offers no crochet classes. You know, the events tend to want to have crochet knitting classes. There's knitting and spinning and weaving seem to sell out no problem, but crocheters never sell out the classes for some reason. And I think that is an issue that happens because back in the 60s and 70s and even the 80s, when crocheters were using a lot of box store yarns, Red Heart, Bernat, Caron yarns, however you want to say it, those yarns, Peyton's and Lily's Sugar and Cream, you know, all those yarns. Lion Brand, I think I mentioned. Those companies were extremely strong in selling crocheters with their yarn. And they were extremely strong with free patterns and all that back in that day. And that mindset of crocheters, first of all, is that I can teach myself anything, which is actually a good thing. I mean, I don't say that's wrong, a bad thing. I can teach myself anything or I can figure it out on my own. I don't need help because the yarn company is going to help me, kind of thing, has caused crocheters to have the mindset of, I don't need to pay for classes. And what they're not realizing these days is that if they want to be able to go to an event and take a class, they actually need to take those classes. They can't just complain and say, you know, why aren't you teaching? Why aren't there crochet classes? All I can do is go to the market. Well, it's because those people don't put their money where their mouth is. And that's true with yarn shops, and that's true with anywhere that you could that offers knitting and crocheting classes. I find that when I teach for CGOA, my classes, you know, sell really well because it's targeted to just crocheters. But when it goes to other events or to shops, they seem to know how to get the knitters in there, but they don't know how to get the crocheters in there. So I have a few tips for you guys on if you really want crochet classes. I mean, you can contact me anytime. And if you want a private lesson, I do private lessons. If you want me to offer a particular class, let me know what those classes are. Even if they're not on my normal schedule, if you say, hey, do you know how to teach XYZ, or can you teach me XYZ? I'll see what I can do. I can't promise that I can teach everything, but you know, I can see what I can do. But if you're going to a large event like Stitches or Rhinebeck or any of those events, Vogue Knitting Live, any of the larger events, even the fiber festivals that are local, like Dallas Fort Worth Fiber Fest or whatever, if you feel like that there's not enough classes there, Dallas is pretty good with their crochet classes. I can tell you that as being a teacher there. But in other events, they're not so good. In fact, there's one event that they finally sold it to someone else, but when it was previously known as Madrona, and Madrona stopped offering crochet altogether because she couldn't get classes or get people to fill the classes. So if you want a large event, there's really three things that I recommend. Use the contact form on the website for the event and tell them that you're a crocheter and you're saddened to see the lack of classes, and you know, and tell them these are the kinds of classes I'd like to see. You can also include in that email that you'd like to see a particular teacher. You know, if it's one of my classes, say, hey, I'd like to see Karen Hooley's Cup Down Sock class on the schedule next year, or can you invite Karen Hooley or whoever your favorite instructor is to this event? I mean, I would come if she was here to teach. And if you get enough people saying, hey, we want crochet classes, they might consider offering, you know, the first year, maybe a limited number, but then expand it. There's events that out there, and I'm not going to name them, but there's an event out there that use the same teachers all the time. And that's been a problem for crocheters because they almost always teach the same classes over and over again. Very rarely do they put in a new class, and when they do, it's usually just one class, maybe two if you're lucky, but the rest are all repeats. You need to tell them that, hey, we need new fresh blood. You know, this teacher has this class. I'd really like to see her teach, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And also, if you're at the event and maybe you're in the market and you know who the people are that actually are running the event, make sure you stop them, because that's one of their jobs while they're there, is to talk to the people who are attending and find out what they need and want. And if you know who they are, just stop them and say, hey, there's not enough crochet classes. Could you invite this teacher and that teacher and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the way you get the classes there. I mean, they need to see the interest before. And then if the next year they offer classes, you need to take those classes. If it's something you've already taken and they don't offer anything that you don't already know, you still should take one of those classes because you've already said you want these classes. So you need to support those classes so that you can get more classes at that event. So even if, let's say it's my sock class and you've already taken my sock class, or you've taken somebody else's sock class, take my sock class, because too, I teach differently than other teachers, and you might learn something different from me that you didn't learn from the other teacher. So I'm just using socks as an example, but it could be any class. I mean, you could have taken my Tunisian entrelac class at CGOA, and then Margaret Hubert is teaching her Tunisian entrelac class at a different show. And you want to support that show, and you want that show to have more crochet teachers take Margaret's class and see what she teaches differently than I do, that kind of thing. Does that make sense? I hope so. And then at local shops, okay? So your local yarn shop offers tons of knitting classes, but they don't have a crochet instructor there. When you're in there buying yarn, and especially if you're a regular at the shop buying yarn, you might want to talk to the shop owner, or if she's not there, one of the people that works there, and say, hey, can you start offering these classes, or why aren't you offering crochet classes? That kind of thing. You can also use their contact form and use the same information that you talked to the large event, use the same events. And then if you have local friends that are crocheters, like if you're part of a guild, do a group outing to that shop and bring them in. And the more people that show interest in classes, the better chance you'll get classes scheduled. I know from working at a yarn shop, we used to have guilds that would just on the fly stop in. They'd have a guild meeting. They say, oh, let's go to Great Yarns. And they'd come over to Great Yarns, and there'd be like 10 people in there, and they'd be shopping. And all of a sudden a class gets put on the schedule because these people are wanting to learn something. You know, I could have been wearing something, or they had one of my samples up, and they wanted to learn how to do it, and that would happen. When you're buying yarn in a local shop, make sure you're telling them it's for a crochet project. You can even show them the pattern, and if more people start doing that, the shops get more friendly. Because they know, a good shop owner knows that crocheters use more yarn than knitters do in a single project. Our blankets take more yarn, about a half to 2/3 more yarn to crochet a blanket than to knit a blanket of the same size, depending on what weight yarn you're using. So they know that, hey, if we start being more crochet friendly, we can sell more yarn. So that's really important. And so the other thing is you can go directly to instructors. And I've already mentioned that myself, that if there's something you want to learn, let me know what it is, and I can see what I can do. If there's a teacher, that you want to learn something from, like Melissa Leitman or Edie Ekman or anyone out there, Barney Barker. There's a lot of crochet instructors out there that are looking for places to teach. Even though they have their regulars, they're always looking for new places to teach, reach more instructors, and that includes me. So tell us about new events in your area, or an event that you'd like us to check into. If there's a shop that is looking for teachers, or you would like us to teach for, you can always come to me and say, hey, this is my local yarn shop. I've already talked to her about having you out. You might want to touch base with her. Or the opposite's true. You can say, I'm giving you permission to tell your yarn shops, hey, Karen Hooley is a national crochet instructor, and she's looking for new places to teach, and she would love to come out and teach for our shop. Would you be interested in having her? This is her contact information. Send them to my website. And then the other thing too is you can ask us about doing online classes. Now, I've already said that if you have something you want to learn, let me know. And in the way our industry is right now, our world is right now, I'm going to be doing more online classes than I am offline classes. So, just ask me. If you were a part of a guild and you'd like to have me come out and teach something for your guild, let me know as well. So those are kind of the tips I have for you on that stuff. I'm going to come back to the chat here and see what's going on. Let's see, Ziplocs. I found a yarn drum at Joann's. Okay, that you're talking about projects, compartments, and grommets. Oh, okay. I'll have to look at that. Okay, Linda, I'll have to go to Walmart and look at those. Pack-on carrying case. I'll have to look for that. I always say I want to use the yarn for crochet, and the shop assistant is always amazed. I know. I know. If they're not a crocheter, they're shocked because they think that their yarns can't be used for crochet. And when you get the shop owner or a person who works in the shop that's like that, make sure you go back to the shop and show them the finished product that you did with their yarn. That's another thing too. For shops, I mean, you tell them, yes, I'm going to use this $33 hank of fingering weight yarn to make a pair of crocheted socks. You need to go back and show them that you're crocheted socks so that they actually believe that that's what you're using it for. I mean, if you're doing a crocheted blanket out of, DK, Aran, or Worcester weight, go in there and show them the finished blanket. Show them your fingering weight shawls. That's the way you get shops more crochet friendly. Doesn't matter where in the world you are. There's always those shops that think knitting is higher than crocheters. And my grandmother would admonish them all the time. And she would say, I can just see her now that, knitting has the things that it does well and crochet has the things that it does well. So both of them are equal. We are not the ugly stepsister of knitting. So there you go. That's from my nonna. I look forward to seeing my online class. Oh, me too, because I'm still trying to decide what exactly I'm going to teach. So I'm going to be pretty surprised as you guys are with what I'm going to teach. I've got some ideas though. My closest yarn shop is about 15 miles from my house. All the rest have closed up. There's a lot of them that are closing right now. Over on the west side of the state where I just moved from, since I've moved, 2 have closed. There's a couple that are on the bubble, I'm sure. And I keep waiting to hear that they have closed. But 2, one of them is gone completely online. You guys may know them. They're Church Mouse Yarn and Tees. Church Mouse is big on Ravelry and in the industry. Most people know who Church Mouse is because they release tons of beautiful patterns. And they had a shop and they closed the shop and went completely online because of COVID. COVID basically forced them to do that. Another shop also closed because of COVID. She is Serial Knitters in Kirkland, Washington. They closed a few months ago. She's going online, but she's going online as an yarn dyer. And her yarns are Cherry Creek, I believe, is the name of her brand. I don't know if you search for Serial Knitters, she's a dyer, so she dyes yarn. So you'd want to look for her. And oh, you're good. You've shown them good. So when you go back and show them, it's amazing their responses too, isn't it? When I started working for the yarn shop, Great Yarns in Everett, where we used to live, they brought me in as a teacher first. And one of the first things they did was have me teach the entire staff how to crochet. Even though some of them knew the basics, they wanted me to learn how I taught, and they wanted to know a little bit so that, because if with my classes, what would start happening is they knew that I was teaching classes, so students would come in, or potential students would come in with a problem, and they at least wanted the staff to know the basics to kind of help them. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, the owner asked me to start working in the shop one day a week. And that was crochet day. So all the crocheters knew that Karen was going to be in the shop on this day. It used to be Mondays, then it ended up being Thursdays due to my kids' school schedules. But so I would go in and work on that day, and all the crocheters would come in. And it was like craziness there for a while because, I would just be a revolving door, helping people pick out yarns for crochet projects and things like that. And then eventually when I left, one of the others, one of my coworkers there kind of picked up the slack. But I don't know that the crocheters are still coming because she was not a designer. She was not as well versed in all the techniques that I was well versed in. So I don't know. I know that it's slowed down. I've talked to a couple of my students who are part of the guild that I belong to over there that said things kind of slowed down over there. But it's amazing how if you keep it going and then they bring someone in to help, how the crochet, it becomes so crochet friendly. I wish you lived closer to the Chicago suburbs. I'd be at your classes all the time. I would love to have you, have you guys, all of you guys in my classes all the time. That's why I'm going to start doing these Zoom classes because not just because I, it's what I do for a living, but because I miss my people. And so I'm hoping you guys will take as many classes as you can, and or at least keep me going with contact for the crocheters. I'm going to do a few free things as well as paid things. And in fact, one of the things I'm hoping to have launched in January before I move, it may not happen until after we move, but my goal is, in fact, I'm going to start filming next week, is I'm going to start a free Crochet 101 class. Now, I know you guys are well beyond this, but if you have friends who want to learn how to crochet, because I don't teach the beginners classes anymore live at all. I don't teach them at shops. I always tell shops, I'm not going to teach your beginners classes. That's up to you. But I'll teach your intermediate and advanced classes or next steps kind of classes. But I'm going to do free video classes where people can come and see the videos and take at their own pace on my website. So if you know anybody that wants to learn how to crochet, keep an eye out for that, because that's something I want to do. I want to be able to bring in more crocheters and teach them properly, because I know YouTube has a lot of information out there, but a lot of it's really bad. And if some of you have probably seen a lot of that bad information out there. So, I want to make sure that people know how to teach classes. I'm a certified instructor through the Craft Yarn Council of America. And I know there's a lot of yarn companies like Barocco, and Annie's catalog does some amazing classes that are free on YouTube. But I want to make sure that what I teach is, the traditional proper way to crochet. And I'm hopefully going to be able to switch it to left and right. I have to try it out before I do that. I definitely will be doing right-handed classes. I don't know what I'm going to do about left-handed, but we'll figure it out. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm already almost 10 minutes over my normal time. But I hope you guys got some information from me about different things. Most of you guys probably knew what I was talking about, but I wanted to make sure that somehow I got that information out there to everyone who has been asking for it. And then I can share this video with those people who have been asking via email and through my surveys. But anyway, that's it for me today. I hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. And if it's a different time zone, there's time zone calculators that'll give you your time zone. But I hope everybody has a great one, and I will talk to you next week. Have a great one. Bye, Anne. Bye, Linda. Bye, everybody who's out there. Martha, who else is out there? Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.